Unfortunately, he didn't turn to look back, or perhaps he might have changed his plans, although it's more than probable that once the doctor was as sure as he was on this occasion, nothing would make him change his mind. Nevertheless, the sight of the creature in the rocks behind the TARDIS might have made him check his calculations. For what explanation could there be for such a being, powerful, dressed in animal skins, gripping a crude, vicious club? A savage-looking animal, undoubtedly human, but surely from a very early stage in man's development, a dangerous savage who watched the doctor with eyes that followed each move with fear and hate. The ravine was dotted with great boulders, shrubs, and bushes, and there were patches of scrubland with dry, thorny trees. Nothing seemed to grow very high, but the area was ideal cover for anyone in hiding. As the doctor moved further away from the TARDIS, taking a path that twisted and turned through the rocks, he was totally unaware of the way that the spiky branches were moved aside so that watching eyes could follow his progress. Each step he took was noted with grim satisfaction, for he was moving closer to a saucer of rocks in which he would be surrounded, where sounds would be stifled, and the secret watchers could drop on him from all sides. Not that the doctor gave the slightest thought to any danger. He was far too absorbed in what he was doing, stopping every few steps to take readings from his odd instrument, making notes, nodding with satisfaction, even permitting himself a smile of approval. He didn't even notice the slight sound of a shuffle, as though feet were moving over dry leaves. Nor did he notice the shadow that fell on the rocks behind him. He was a man blissfully unaware of anything except the satisfaction of the problems of science that intrigued him to the exclusion of all else. And in this state of mind, far more than 5 minutes passed. Dodo was more patient than Stephen. She'd learnt to accept the doctor and his eccentric ways. Besides, she had great confidence in him. But Stephen couldn't take things so easily. He strode up and down outside the TARDIS, glancing at his watch every now and again, frowning, peering down the ravine, listening, then continuing to stride up and down again. Dodo merely sat on a rock. "He's been gone far longer than 5 minutes," said Stephen finally. He didn't like to admit even to himself how anxious he felt, partly because he couldn't explain why. "For a man who's travelled about in time more than anyone else," said Dodo, "the doctor seems to have less idea about it than most people. And that's funny." "This is nothing to laugh at, Dodo." "Don't take things so seriously," she said. "If you're worried, you shouldn't have let him go." "Try telling the doctor what to do," said Stephen. "Then you should have gone with him." "He didn't give me a chance. He was out of that door and off like a shot, with that ridiculous calculator of his." "Don't just complain, Stephen. Do something about it." He glared at Dodo relaxing on her rock. In a way, he wished he could take life as easily as she did, but he knew he couldn't. "Very well," he said. "I will do something." He turned in the direction the doctor had taken and began to move cautiously through the rocks and trees. For a second, he thought he saw something on the cliff above him. It seemed as if something moved, but he wasn't sure. It was probably a trick of the light. One's eyes took a little time to get used to real sunshine after spending so long in the TARDIS. He moved on. The doctor was fond of this particular calculator of his. He'd always found it accurate, and it was giving him some most satisfactory readings. "Ah, precisely what I thought," he muttered to himself. "My young friends are going to get quite a surprise." He moved on towards the rocks ahead. They would be a fine place from which to take a final reading.